We see a very similar theme in the Bible, this specific narrative all throughout Scripture, that in order to experience new life, a death must first take place. When we talk about this idea of new life coming from death, Jesus says something kind of similar in Luke chapter 9. He says, if anyone wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross daily, and follow me. So even in Christianity, in following Jesus, we see there is a call, if you want to follow Jesus, to die to yourself. Because in order for you to follow Jesus, you first have to lay down your own way of life in order to receive his way of life. In our series, The Art of Waiting, we've seen how waiting often requires giving up our own way in exchange for God's way and trusting that his way is better. The title for today's message is Waiting is the Death Before the Resurrection. First, I want to point our attention to verse 6, which is arguably one of the most interesting verses of today's story. When Jesus heard these things, that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was 2 more days. When Jesus heard the news of his friend Lazarus, who was sick, he made a decision to remain where he was. I don't know about you guys, but the theme of waiting is so clear already, that Jesus intentionally delays his arrival to his friend on purpose. Jesus very well had the power to save Lazarus. And Jesus, being the Son of God, didn't even have to move from the city he was in. He could simply know exactly where Lazarus was and immediately heal him of his sickness. But he doesn't. And you can only imagine that Martha and Mary are probably sitting there anticipating the arrival of Jesus. Because one thing is also clear, that Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, being good friends of Jesus, they know who he is and they know what he's capable of. Especially at this point, because we have seen Jesus perform miracle after miracle after miracle, helping people, healing people. And so you can only imagine that they're there anticipating or waiting for Jesus to arrive, or for God to heal, or for something to happen. They're there waiting on a miracle to come, but it doesn't. What happens here is that Lazarus passes away. John, who's the author, he felt that it'd be important to mention Jesus' love for Lazarus numerous times. Now, why is this? A testing of faith is not a denial of God's love. Yes, Jesus chose to remain put, but that did not change the love that he had for his friend Lazarus. If we're experiencing difficult things, it does not mean that God doesn't love you or he loves you less. Jesus says this, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. And then he says this question here, do you believe this? Now, this question is extended to Martha, but it's ultimately also extended to every single one of you today. Do you believe this? And in terms of our story today, we're not even going to be able to finish it because I want us to be able to sit in that tension. I want us to sit in the tension of what hasn't happened yet, because if you know the story, you know it's going to happen. But if we were to be real and sitting in the shoes of these people going through this, to Martha and Mary and their brother, they think that their brother is gone. And they're sitting there, and Jesus just now shows up, and he still has not even entered into the city. Like, Jesus is taking forever in order to get there, and there's frustration and everything else that comes with it. And we're going to get to that next week.